Hey, I'm cutting this video and I'm probably going to post it at an oddball time. Sue thought it was rather important. I guess it's news. I don't know how important I think it is, but it's news. It comes out of the Daily Sun, by the way. Emergency facility coming to Wildwood. ER breaks grounds. Is slated to open by year's end. 16-bed center is a partnership between Central Florida Health and United Health of Shands Hospital. There are only 2 local doctors when Ed Wolf moved to Wildwood 50 years ago. It's something I don't think anyone could have ever imagined, Wolf said. This is just exciting. The facility is a partnership between Central Florida Health and the nonprofit parent of the village's regional hospital, Shands Hospital. They're going to build a 16-bed hospital, emergency hospital, whatever that entails, down in Brownwood. Let me see if I can find more of the story. We think it's kind of a historic day, said Don Henderson, President and CEO of Central Florida Health. The building will be needed to serve southernmost residents of the villages as the community continues to grow, said Michael Pittman, Chief Clinical Officer and Site Administrator at the village's Regional Health. Here's my personal opinion about this. I'm not putting it down in any way. My personal opinion is 16-bed miniature type hospital, emergency hospital, whatever it is, that's crap, because that's nothing. They're putting in, what is it? What was it last, like 22,000 homes down there, 44,000 new people pulling in, and this hospital is not for villagers only. They never are. They lead you to believe in their wording that it's going to be for village people only. That's not true. All the Wildwood people will be gone there. Everybody will be gone there. 16-bed. The village's regional hospital is full all the time in the wintertime. If you read the village's news, they're always, when there's a crash here, they're sending people to Ocala. That's because they don't have any room for them at village's regional hospital. So, not that this isn't nice, not that this isn't needed, but we need something probably 50 times bigger, at least. Anyway, in addition to bringing services to an underserved area, the new ER will help with managing patient populations at the village's Regional Health and Leesburg Regional Medical Center, said Joshua Fleming, Vice President and Chief Clinical Officer of Leesburg Regional Medical Center. We're excited for the community to have this resource here. United Health is excited to expand its partnership with Central Florida Health, said Ed Jimenez, CEO of UF Health Shands. For the last 3 years, the Village of Regional Health has transported the most critical stroke patients to Shands in Gainesville via helicopter. Now, this goes back a couple weeks ago that I did a report that came out in the paper that there's some people over in the villages that's not too far from Wildwood itself, and they're raising Cain because they're wanting to take a big open field that's over there and turn it into a heliport, I think you want to call it, where a helicopter can land. I'll bet you that's for this. And they don't want it. They say it's going to be noisy, and it is. But like I've always said, when you buy a house here, just because you've got this beautiful view out the backyard, depending on where you're at, don't necessarily mean that view is going to be there all the time. There's no guarantee on that. Just because you have a pond into your backyard, you got this water view, don't necessarily mean that water's going to be there all the time. And here's the biggest thing that I can tell you with my knowledge. I know a lot of people 10 years ago bought these high-dollar houses with swamp views, I'll call it. And 10 years later, because it's considered to be a wildlife refuge area, you can't do anything with that. So trees and brush and scrubs and things have grown, overgrown, to the point now where they don't have the view anymore. And they want them cut down. They can't do that. It comes under specific laws. And so 10 years ago they had this great water view. 10 years later, they got brush and shrub and weeds and all kinds of stuff growing there, and they can't cut it down. Just letting you know, that's all. So anyway, emergency hospital being built in Brownwood. Another one. This was in today's thing. I'm going to probably post this today to give you a little extra something for the weekend, maybe. This is Friday, by the way. Oh, what a day makes, you know, when we talk about difference. Yesterday I played golf. I don't know if it's posted or not. I don't remember what I'd done with it. But anyway, I was layered. And a jacket. It was like a high yesterday of 58 degrees. Windy, cold. Just, you know, one of them days. Today I walk outside. I got my long pants on. I walk outside just to kind of look around. Oh my gosh. It must be in the 70s. I need to take my pants off and put my my shorts on. Yeah, 70s, just beautiful out today. Supposed to be like 80 Sunday. So we're back on the upswing. Spring, I think spring has sprung. I'm noticing a few plants out there are starting to bloom. Anyway, you see this here? We're getting self-driving taxis in the villages. They've been working on this for a while, testing things. I don't know how they work. I think it's all by GPS system. I don't know how they work. I'm fascinated by the whole thing. Self-driving taxi makes historic run. Virginia Trace resident takes first test ride. On his first trip with a passenger Thursday, the autonomous Voyage van makes its way around the village of Virginia Trace. The self-driving taxi service provided a ride to Sally Moss of the village of Virginia Trace, who was selected as the first villager to ride in the vehicle. I don't know exactly how they work, and I don't want to read this whole article because it's probably just boring. I'll read a little bit. Sally Moss became the first resident Thursday to ride in a Voyage Auto self-driving taxi in the villages. Neighbors in her village of Virginia Trace cul-de-sac took notice as they stepped outside to witness her participation in this historic testing of the pilot autonomous vehicle program. Next door neighbor Linda Clark snapped photos and expressed glee as she chatted with Moss, her husband Mike, and representatives of the technology company, and examined the two white 2018 Chrysler Pacific Hybrids minivans as they arrived. I'm living, that don't make sense. It says I'm living, and then it just stops. Oh, here it is. Next to the famous lady who rides in the first robo-car in the villages. I was going to stay inside, but this is very interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. I don't know how that works either, but I can tell you, as a former farmer myself from many years ago, what once was a typical way of farming changed dramatically in 20 years. Dramatically. I got a neighbor now that's a big-time farmer, and he's telling me that when they plant now, you don't even have to drive a tractor. It's all GPS. They just program whatever they program in the computer of the tractor. How far to space the seeds apart, how deep to plant them, I guess. And he said the rows are perfectly straight. Wow. That's all I can say is I don't know how it works, but wow. To all my trucker buddies, and I am a former trucker, and I sympathize with truckers a lot, regardless of what you see sometimes, regardless of what you hear sometimes. I know a lot of them are on the CB and things are very foul-mouthed. They shouldn't be, but they are. Some of them act like they just ain't got no brains at all. I understand all that. But the 99% of the guys that I know work for a living, have a family, and they do what they do to pay the bills. So, but this kind of makes me a little nervous because I can see if this works out really, really well over the next 50 years, not in my lifetime, I'm sure, this could put a lot of truck drivers out of a job. Well, you might say, well, good. That'll bring the price of equipment down. No. But most of the money that you pay for a product at a store is because of fuel costs and equipment cost, not that driver. An average tractor nowadays is $150,000, not including insurance, maintenance, or nothing else. The next and most expensive cost on that company for whoever owns that tractor is the fuel. Half of the income that tractor makes in a year's time, at least half, depending on fuel costs, half of the maintenance on that, or the income on that tractor, goes to fuel. I mean, it's an expensive operation to get into. I did it for a long time. And I'm sure nowadays it's even more expensive than what it was when I did it. So anyway, my hats are off to you, trucker. I sympathize. So anyway, there you go. Remote drivable cars in the villages. My guess is they probably drive better than a lot of these old folks that I've seen down here that don't even know which direction to go in a roundabout. That's all I got to say about that. So until then, I'm going to get out of here on this beautiful day. I'm going to do some golfing, maybe mow the yard, maybe trim some bushes. And you guys up north, stay warm. See you on the other side.